Welcome back to the Maturity Project. I am your host, Chad Everbro Shears, and I'm continuing in this series of Fit Over 40, and this is part of physical maturity, of the 8 areas of maturity. So, let's do more of the 7 questions of readiness. I know I just said a lot. Let's just jump right to the thing, right? It's the 7 questions of readiness category. What this is specific about preparation for exercise. Where are you at the timeline you're planning to exercise or to do any real strenuous activity? But let's put it in the exercise category, since there's a lot of strenuous activities you could do this on, but very few people qualify what strenuous activity they're going to be involved in and their body's readiness for it. So, yeah. Actually, what comes to mind is somebody that's about to go out like a lumberjack, and you see them doing like all of these wonderful stretches that you would see somebody doing in the gym. Like, here we go. Let's get that going here. Limber up, twist it, and all that. Then they grab their chainsaw and they go walking off into the woods. Sure, I'm sure it's happened, but I think it would probably be pretty entertaining to watch, since it just doesn't seem to fit. Although it's smart and it's actually an incredibly good idea to do so that your body is less prone to injury, but that's just not typical of what you would think to see it that. Anyway, the little humorous idea that came to mind there, although it would be very smart to do so. 7 questions of readiness is just to understand exactly what your body is prepared to do, and what you should do with your body with its degree of preparation. So, what today's conversation is on intensity. Now, with intensity, I'm going to speak from 2 different perspectives here. I will speak from the customer's perspective, or the individual working out, and I'll speak from the trainer's perspective, or the person that's directing or guiding the individual working out. So, for the customer's perspective, your intensity will be in correlation with your results. Now, for you, with the other areas of preparation for work, for what you're about to do in the workout, it will depend on exactly how prepared your body is with your hydration, with your energy, with your rest and recovery, where your hormone state is, things like that. All of these things will be in preparation to, before the body moves. So you have an idea about, how functional you can get the workouts done. Now, keep in mind, I have covered hydration already. And with hydration, I went into specifically what it's doing in your body. So as far as I didn't add in first level dehydration, second level, third level, but by the time you actually realize you're thirsty, your body has already reprioritized water from the digestive tract and your joint fluid, which is also known as synovium, which is, synovial fluid is what they usually refer to it as when you speak to your doctor, but it's synovium. Now, what the body does is it pulls back some of that because it's considered to be sacrificial hydration. So if you're drinking a bunch of coffee and alcohol and juices and energy drinks, and then you get your teas and, but you really don't have a whole lot of actual just water by itself. And I don't mean distilled water, because that actually serves a different purpose in the body, the same as like reverse osmosis, stuff like that, or over purified waters, and like spring water, actual like hydration type waters. Which, yes, there is a difference. Depends on what you're getting the body to use that for specifically. Now, if you're dehydrated, you will pull away from those areas. Now, if you have a dehydrated joint and you're about to go work out, well, that is increasing the friction value in the joint, because a well lubricated joint should have the friction value of metal on ice. So it's actually a very functionally moving thing. It is little to no damage with it. It's just nice and smooth, if you were to use that as an example, but it has the minimal amount of friction. Now, there is another caveat when you're talking about joint wear and tear, but dehydration is one of the worst things you can do to a joint, especially with consistency of movement. The other is muscle imbalances. Well, I'll add in a third one in a second here, but the second one is muscle imbalances. If you were to envision a joint, like say the glenohumeral joint, which is your shoulder joint, The humeral head is the upper portion of the bone of the arm that goes into the joint itself. That's a ball that goes into the socket. Now it's covered with ligaments that's holding it in place, which is your shoulder itself. It's well, not your shoulder itself. It's part of the shoulder, and it's encased in it. Now, if you have an imbalance in that joint, you can cause the joint to rotate in a specific direction. It's very common for an anterior rotation, meaning that your shoulder comes forward, which means you're creating an impingement point in the anterior of the shoulder that could stress it out and cause more damage. And it could also cause more leverage against the posterior, and that could cause issues. With that imbalance and tension, same thing with like a rotation like this or bearing weight in this direction could increase the potential of a labrum tear or something like that. So won't get any further into that because that's into the technologies of it. And, that's not intended for this video. But as you get that impingement point, you're increasing the potential of wearing the cartilage in the anterior of the joint itself, because you're now bringing the humeral head into the side of the joint and compressing in on the cartilage. So be cautious with that, because if you're dehydrated, you're reducing the pressure that would help support the shoulder from going in that direction. Either way, it's still something you want to address, because you want to reduce that tension so you can bring the joint back into its optimal operating position, which is where it doesn't have those impingement points. But it's incredibly common to have an anterior. It's not as common to have a posterior, which is the back of the shoulder. Reason for that, especially in men, is not just the mass that we carry, the muscle that we carry in the upper body, but it's also the glamour muscles, right? We like our chest to look big and our shoulders and, the nice neck and all of this stuff, right? We like to have that because those are the glory muscles, right? Those are the ones that gets the girl, or gets the attention for the opportunities, right? So women actually have better range of motion with less risk of injury on average, because they don't have the same types of pattern issues nor the focal points for fitting in, because not as many women are trying to get the big masculine looking or muscular chest or shoulders. So anyway, not to digress too much into that, but just know that equal but not the same. So you treat everybody uniquely, but you also need to understand overall gender specifics when it comes to conditioning. But for you as the customer, for the exerciser, the exercise enthusiast, or the I'm just getting started person, just know that water is incredibly important. Now, getting to the intensity factor. Intensity in the workout will cause you to push the needle in whatever direction that works for you. The lower the intensity, the less you're going to feel it. Now, I do encourage people when the very first moments they're working out, or when they first get started at first several workouts, try to keep your intensity levels a little bit lower, because the experience of DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness, it can be incredibly challenging to deal with, to say the least. I've actually gotten chewed out by some of my clients' mothers, and just because it was, like her son who started working with me was a skateboarder, in my very first year of being a trainer, which seems like a lifetime ago. I got chewed out by her. She's like, my kid is crying in bed. He doesn't want to get up. And I'm like, oh, well, we expect some muscle soreness. She goes, you don't understand. He had to go to the bathroom, and I had to beg him to just move to get off the bed. I was like, damn, I overdid it. Not realize I wasn't trying to show off that I'm that smart, which is actually very common amongst trainers whenever they want to show people, hey, the DOMS is going to directly connect you with what kind of changes you're going to make with your body. Do you feel those muscles that got sore? Yeah, those are the ones that are going to change. And then it's like trying to give a positive spin on it, but they don't realize that the emotional impact of that could be, I don't want to move. I dread going to the bathroom. I would rather just fall down onto my toilet than to use my legs to sit, like that kind of thing. And yes, I know there's going to be the firebrand types that are like, man, quit being such a wuss, thinking that towards those people. when you work with a lot of different types of people, you want to take the most tactful approach. That is why I have intensity in the 7 questions of readiness. If I just met you and you're a new client of mine, I want to understand exactly what kind of workout you want and what kind of workouts you've experienced in the past, and then we will talk about DOMs. We will verify that you are aware that what we do can increase that discomfort, and if you have not been conditioned well, you may drastically regret your decision for the next several days. Now, I do have a little key to this. I'll add this at the end of the video, so hang in there. And when I give this, I would like a little bit of a like on this video. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you like the content. And if you like to watch people fail their way forward, man, am I out to do that. Yeah. So, anyway, understanding that will be beneficial. The intensity level and the DOMs is your, the outcome of the workout. I am not a fan of the trainers that believe that they can validate their education and abilities by how much pain they can put their client in. I consider it to be far more effective and more impressive when you have a trainer of any type trainer of the fitness industry, which there's actually quite a few different types. If you're capable of getting your client to ease into it to maximize their results and do it quickly because you align the science, not just try to prove to the person that you know what you're doing because you've made them hate you by the way they feel. Firebrand clients, most of them are typically good with that. Firebrand clients are the extremists typically. They might be, but you'll find that out by using the 7 questions of readiness, especially when you get to the intensity side. So, with that intensity, hold on one second here. Okay. With the intensity side of it, when I ask it, one is you don't want to feel anything. Like you just want to have like a lay down basically, or you just want to sit down and talk, because you're going to tell me something with that. If you come in and you tell me you want a 1 on intensity, I know we have other conversations to have. I'm not going to sit there and be like, okay, well, let me convince you need to work out harder. No. What's going on in your life? Did you not sleep last night? Are you stressed? Are you too stressed? Are you not feeling well? Are you coming down with something? You're worried you're getting sick. Did you were going to cancel, but you decided to walk in because of your integrity for the appointment. But, so help me understand it so I can help, one, address the problem as best that I can within my range of abilities. But since I've also created and still creating the Maturity Project, 8 areas of maturity, there's quite a few places I can actually get into. But I can get further in the conversation, because if you're coming to work out with me and you tell me 1, there's something that's off about that. Something's not quite right. Because you're here to work out. You're here to change your body. And I don't know what the hell it is. Like, why are you showing up if you want a 1? So help me understand it. And it's not don't show up. It's that you showed up, but you don't want to do anything. Or you don't physically want to push yourself. It just helps me understand so we can come up with a better direction. So you're not just a 1 type or only a couple of options and you force people through it. I'm incredibly dynamic that way, and I encourage the other trainers to be that way as well. For you, if you go in, you're like, I want a 1 today. What type of workouts do you do? You probably should switch over to something, if you're more in the traditional category, which is like the bodybuilding machines, free weights, but in the very traditional movements, big 5, not the big 5, I'm sorry, the big 3 movements, and then the other base level, common exercises. You're probably burning out a little bit. You might be. I mean, I don't know. I've got to ask those questions to figure it out. You may be well to just switch over and do dynamic exercises with little to no weight, balance and agility, range of motion, those kind of things. That may be a good switch for now. You may have done the traditional type of exercises for too long, and not only have you your body's physical limitations are saturated, but also so is your emotion and your desires. You're not seeing the same return, which you won't be. You'll get better return if we continue to rotate and things. And I can actually get pretty far into proving that if I have the person in front of me. Even for the traditional bodybuilders, like, yeah, dude, I keep putting size on all the time. Like, do you want function or you just want aesthetics? If you want aesthetics, I can still maximize that as well by going through the different protocols with it. But intensity is, by the way, here's another interesting little secret. You can get anybody to be sore for the next 2 to 3 days. All you have to do is change their movement pattern. So if you're trying a new exercise and you're adding sets to it, so it's not just a couple reps to see if you're capable, but you're actually adding sets to it, just the movement pattern change can cause muscle soreness. You can change the muscle soreness, or you can get muscle soreness just by changing the tempo. You go from a 3 second, which is common, 3 up, 3 down, 0 on the top, 0 on the bottom, which means no rest on the top, no rest on the bottom in 3 seconds between eccentric and concentric, and then switch it over to, let's say, super slow. 0 on the bottom, 10 seconds going up, 10 seconds coming down, 10 seconds going up. So you have 0 weight on either side, and it's 10 seconds in both directions. By the way, you won't get a lot of reps out of that. Even if you go lightweight, it'll be pretty interesting because your body's not equipped for that if you're doing the traditional type of exercises. So just switching things up like that can cause the DOMs as well. So just things to keep in mind. Now, I can go further into that, and if that's a good qualifier for you, which, by the way, it does confuse the system, and it does challenge the nervous system enough to maximize caloric consumption, because you're going to over-recruit muscle fibers. You actually reduce the recruitment of muscle fibers with the familiarity of movement. So that's why you get to the point where over time you stop seeing the results, is that your efficiency for caloric conservation has increased and improved drastically. It's an efficiency thing. You're trying to save calories because we're efficiency machines. When it comes to survival, we try to reduce the cost of movement to maximize the nutrition that we could find from our ancestry's perspective. So anyway, that can be a long conversation there. Back to it on this, though, is you can switch those things up. So when I talk to you about intensity, I also do want to talk about what your expected soreness is. Do you want to be really sore? Do you want to be moderately sore, or mildly, or next to no soreness at all? So that I understand, because I'm trying to hit the Goldilocks zone every time. Now, as far as my little trick that I pull on my clients, which you can, and I encourage you to do this yourself because I do it to myself, is when you're you ask yourself the intensity question, add at 0.5. So if you say, I'm up for a 7 today, you know what a 7 feels like out of 10. 10 would be like, I'm going to make myself puke. Well, what's a 7 feel like? Is the more you use this scale, the easier it is to realize like exactly what number works best for you and how it feels to be there. I add a 0.5, unless I'm sick. If I'm really not feeling well, I'm just hitting the target number. And I've already adjusted the target number to fit what I need it to be. So it might be a 2, it might be a 3. But I also, if I'm coming down with something, I'll do, commonly I'll do digestive exercises and I'll do lymphatic exercises. Pretty simple. But if you're unfamiliar with those things, by all means, send me an email and yourmaturityproject@gmail.com. That's YOUR maturityproject@gmail.com. And I'll be happy to start that conversation with you and see where we can go with it. So, all right. There's some really interesting stuff when it comes to this. It's not just go lift weight, move something heavy, burn some calories. There's actually is an entire world of health associated with the aesthetics. So, and function. There's a lot of fun stuff in this. So, all right. Intensity from the perspective of a trainer. Don't abuse your clients and don't disappoint them. If you're not asking intensity levels, you are running those risks. Now, I ask my client when they first show up all 7 questions of readiness. I will have them, if I've worked with this person for at least 3 weeks or more, they know these questions. They know they're coming. Depends on the frequency that I see them. If it's once every 3 weeks, they don't know it. If it's once a week or 3 times a week or 5 times a week, they know this stuff by the end of the 3rd week. They know it sometimes, a lot of times sooner. 20 seconds. I have everything that I need to know to at least start the workout, and then I can, as I'm taking them through whatever that is that I need to do with them, I'm asking the additional questions that are necessary to get more details to those answers. So if the person comes in and I'm like, this person loves to kill it, man. They're a 10 all the time. Oh, Jesus Christ, they're a monster. They're a monster. I love this. They're an athlete. They're a professional. And then I get them and they tell me I want to do a 4 today on the intensity. Like, what's going on? I'm going to notate a 4, absolutely. But what's going on? Why are we at a 4? We're normally at a 10. Did you not sleep well? Whatever. If I need to probe by asking the questions to probe, fantastic. A lot of times by that stage of the relationship, I already have a pretty decent idea what could be going on, unless they're surprised, and then I'll be surprised. Because if it's something that they are not surprised by, I probably already have an idea of it. Because a lot of people find cathartic release in their workouts with their trainer. So now, don't abuse your client. Don't go, I know what you need. I'm going to push you. If you don't ask the questions, I'm telling you, you're in an old school of training. If you ask these questions, you're going to be in a more of a modern place. Because these are, I came up with these questions from my holistic education, and I simplified them as much as I have to give you the best opportunities so that you can retain your client. They can see that you're not only good enough to get their goals, but you're good enough to get the people in their lives' goals, and they will bring people to you. You got to ask these questions. If you don't ask them, I'm sorry, you're playing too much of a guessing game, and you're limiting your opportunities. You can increase your rates, you can maximize your client scale, a whole thing if you do these right. All right. So the thing I was going to do as far as the bonus, and then I'll close out the episode for today, is hair of the dog. If you have overdone it and you are so sore and you don't know what you're going to do, I learned this little trick as well. Hair of the dog. It's actually a reference for drinking. If you got drunk, hungover the next day, hair of the dog is just drink one drink typically of whatever it was that got you that drunk, and then you just feel better. That's the thing about it. Now for me, I don't want to touch it. If it's got me that drunk, I don't want to touch it the next day. I'd rather deal with the hangover. Plus, I'm not a Tylenol or aspirin or whatever. I don't like taking that stuff. And I also don't drink to the point of drunk anymore. I'm more of a social and, light buzz, light influence. That's my preference. But just as an example, using that as an anchor point, hair of the dog, bring it to the exercises. All it is, let's say as an example, is my squats, my legs are killing me. I don't even want to sit on the toilet. No weight, 10 squats. 3 seconds going down, 3 seconds coming up. By the time you get to about the 4th, maybe 5th, you're going to feel better. What you're doing is you're actually getting fluids you're getting blood going through your legs. You're getting circulation, and you're also breaking up some of that little bit of scar tissue that's repairing. You're breaking up enough of it so you can at least lose some of that discomfort from the muscle soreness. Hair of the dog, any part of your body. Typically, you do it no weight. Body weight, pretty much. Depends. Like if it's triceps, don't do body weight. Go like a light, 5 pounds, 4, whatever, depends on what you work with. And then you drop that down to about 10% of whatever your total working weight is. You are 50 pounds, 5 pounds. You go to 5 pounds. And there you go. Tricep, boom. You will feel better. All right, that's hair of the dog. There's your bonus. All right, that's it. It's for today. It's the intensity out of the 7 questions of readiness. This is fitting over 40 as far as the category of what we're working with here, and the 7 questions of readiness. This is to make sure that you're able to move as best as possible. So, all right, with that, that's it for today. I am Chad Everett Broshears, the host. This is the Maturity Project. If you're curious about finding the missing pieces and actually get somebody that can help support you through for finding more life fulfillment, so you're not just focused on business or your family or what, you can actually bring it all together and have a very fulfilling life. The Maturity Project is designed for that. It is growing. If you yourself feel that you are someone that can teach a category of something in life that does have value for fulfillment, please send me an email at yourmaturityproject@gmail.com. We'll set some time up and we'll have a call. We'll have a chat. If you're looking for mentors, same thing. We can definitely find the right programs for you, or I will find the right people to help mentor you to the point that you do have more proficiency in the areas that you're lacking. Now, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. We're not going there. We're going to redivert this bad boy to the heaven that we want to create on earth. So we grow through what we go through, right? Yesterday's mistakes, tomorrow's opportunities. All right. That's it. Let's get out to something. Let's get out to it together. See ya.